everyone, and welcome to Daily Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. So today we will discuss two articles. The first one is from the Hindu newspaper, which is titled as "The Cleanup Crew We Need." So this basically talks about the importance of saving and conserving the population of vultures that has specifically declined in India. So what steps have been taken in this direction and how are they very much important for the environment has been discussed in this article. The second article is from the Indian Express, which is titled as "How New SEBI Regulations Benefit Listed Company Employees." So we'll discuss about the SEBI Regulations 2021. What are the new things that have been introduced through this and how will it actually benefit the companies and the employees of the various companies listed? So will be discussed here. This newspaper analysis is presented by me. My name is Sheva Khan. I am a law graduate and I had completed my law degree from Uttaranchal University with a gold medal in my batch. I've also been a national debater and a public speaker, and here at LawSikho, I'm working as the manager for current affairs vertical. If you wish to connect with me, you can find me on my Twitter as well as LinkedIn handles. The links to both are available in the description box below. Let's see what is the multiple choice question from yesterday's discussion. How many high courts are there in India? Your options are 24, 25, 26 or 27. You can put down your answer in the comment section below. This is the descriptive question for the day. Discuss the SEBI Share-Based Employee Benefits and Sweat Equity Regulations 2021. So let's start our discussion for the first article of the day, which talks about protecting the vultures. So India has lost more than 95%. Yes, that's correct. India has lost more than 95% of its vulture population through the 1990s and by the mid-2000s. So we should note that the vultures are very, very important as they are very important scavengers in our ecosystem. We will learn about the importance of vultures in the coming part of this discussion. So let's understand about the vultures and a few facts and myths that have been attached to the vultures. They are misunderstood as a source of diseases, as generally we see that they are capable of preying or eating on extremely sick, wounded or infirm creatures. Many times they also survive on the carcasses of various animals, and that is why we take this as a demonized character of the vultures. But in the real sense, we should see that they are in a way cleaning out the environment, as these dead animals or these extremely sick or wounded infirm creatures could actually spread out diseases in the environment, but because they are very efficiently consumed by the vultures, they actually are saved from doing so. So let's understand about a few facts about the vultures. They belong to the Accipitridae family, which basically is the family that belongs to the eagles, hawks and kites, with an average lifespan of 10 to 30 years in the wild. They are slow breeders and therefore the survival of each bird is very crucial, and that is why it is actually taking so long for us to conserve the population of the vultures and to actually increase their population in the country. They do not have a voice box and they communicate with grunts and hisses. So India has 9 species of vultures, and there are many critically endangered that we have. Basically what happened was that the use of the drug that was called as diclofenac, which relieves the cattle of pain, is toxic to vultures, leading to kidney failure and death. So what used to happen was that many a times people who used to have cattle, they used to give their ailing or their disease-stricken cattle with the diclofenac drug. If in case these cattle used to die, so what happened was that the vultures that were surrounded or that lived around the area, they used to feed on the carcasses and on the flesh or on the dead meat of these dead animals. In this situation, what used to happen was that the traces of diclofenac, which were there in the parts and in the intestine or the digestive system of the cattle, the dead cattle, it used to get transferred to the bodies of the vultures, and diclofenac is basically highly toxic to vultures. That is why during the time of 1990s and 2000s, when diclofenac was highly in use amongst the cattle breeders, this actually caused the death of a significant number of vultures in the country. So the myths about the medical healing powers of vulture's body has led to their hunting. That many a times that the flesh of the vulture or this actually helps in a lot of medicinal purposes, but that is not true, due to which this has become another reason of hunting down of the vultures. Quarrying and blasting of stones also where they nest have also caused their decline. So obviously these are the most important factors. The diclofenac, the use of diclofenac being the most primary one that led to the depletion of the number of or the population of the vulture in the country. So let's understand about how can we increase the numbers, or what has been the trend so far. So the decrease in the number of vulture leads to inefficient clearing of the carcasses and contaminates water systems as well. Now, as we just understood, that vultures are very important for cleaning the environment, as they can very efficiently feed on the infirm creatures or the dead creatures, and that is why they help in cleaning up the environment by not letting the toxicity to increase. And that is why if there will be less vultures in the environment, the cleaning process will definitely slow down. If dead animals were left to rot for long durations, it may give rise to disease-causing pathogens, and that is why it could definitely become vulnerable for the other living beings in the given environment. A very few animals or birds can ingest rotting carcasses, and that is why we say that the vultures have a very specialized system, or they have a very a unique quality that they can actually ingest such rotting carcasses as well. So India has banned the diclofenac for veterinary use in 2006. 5 states are to get the vulture breed centers and rescue centers for their treatment under the Action Plan for Vultures Conservation for 2020 to 2025, which is actually implemented by the Ministry of Environment. And vulture restaurants exist in some countries where diclofenac-free carcasses of cattle are dumped in designed areas so that the vultures can very easily feed upon them. So there are basically, as we discussed, 9 varieties of vultures that can be seen in India. So they are the Oriental white-backed vulture, slender-billed vulture, long-billed vulture, Egyptian vulture, red-headed, Indian griffon, Himalayan griffon, cinereous vulture, and the bearded vulture or the Lemurgier vulture. So these are all the breeds that can be found in India, and almost all are critically endangered or are a near threatened species. So let's discuss the second article for the day, which talks about the new SEBI regulations. So recently, the SEBI, which is the Securities and Exchange Board of India, approved the merger of the SEBI Share-Based Employee Benefits Regulations 2014 and SEBI Issue of Sweat Equity Regulations 2002 into a new kind of regulation named as the SEBI Share-Based Employee Benefits and Sweat Equity Regulations 2021. So let's very quickly understand about these new regulations and what are the key changes that could be brought through this idea. Firstly, it will widen the scope of employees who can be offered stock options and brought in other key changes. Secondly, the companies will now be allowed to provide share-based employee benefits to the employees, which means that now the employees can also hold in the shares in which they exclusively work for. And this will help the company retain the employees for a longer period, because obviously, let's take an example of you and me or anyone, and we hold a share in the company in which we are exclusively working. So definitely we will be more interested in working for that company, and the company would be able to hold us for a longer period of time. And this would actually imbibe the sense of responsibility and ownership in the employee, because obviously whatever hard work he or she would do, he would actually gain a very direct benefit of it, because he himself or she himself is a shareholder in that company. So earlier, only the permanent employees of the company and its holding and subsidiary companies were eligible, but now the others will also be eligible. But these rules will be applicable only to the listed companies, as the changes have been framed by SEBI. And for the unlisted companies, the changes will have to be brought into the Companies Act 2030. So please, this is a point of clarification that needs to be noted, that for the listed company only these SEBI regulations will be applied, and for the unlisted companies, sooner or later, changes would have to be brought in the Companies Act 2030. So there are other important changes also that might take place through these regulations. Firstly, there would be a requirement of a minimum 1-year vesting period and lock-in period of 1 year for all the share benefit schemes, which would be relaxed now. Extended time period for appropriating the unappropriated inventory of shares held by the trust. So the time period would be extended, which would actually give them a better leeway. Third, permits companies to transfer excess shares or monies held by a trust upon its winding up to other share-based employee benefit schemes, so that the most of the benefit can be accrued if a company is winding up. And fourthly, it provides flexibility in switching administration of schemes from trust route to direct route and vice versa. So basically, the companies that are listed under this will definitely be able to see good benefit out of these new schemes and regulations if they are implemented in the right direction. So that was all for the day. Do not forget to follow this discussion on our daily newspaper analysis podcast, which is available on Spotify, Google, Anchor, as well as Apple Podcast. Also, if you wish to download the PDF of today's slides, please join our Telegram channel, the link to which is available in the description box below, or you can scan this QR code that you can see on your screens right now. Also, for other exam-oriented content, do not forget to follow us on our official Instagram channels for LawSikho Judiciary, CLAT Prep, and UGC Net if you're preparing for any of these exams. If you like the session, do give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.